Hello there, and welcome into another edition of the JMac Podcast. And another, I know it's rare to do this 2 or 3 times during a week, but another POTUS did what? I suspect as the election gets nearer, we'll do more of these. And in case you're wondering why I am covering so much of what the president is doing, well, it's simple math. I've been doing podcasts about COVID-19, about the president, about cool things that you might have missed on the internet. And guess which videos and podcasts are getting the highest number of views, downloads, and comments? You guessed it, it's the ones about our president. So that tells me that you want me to continue to do it. So I am going to do so. And if you do like the content that I'm bringing to you, please take a minute and like, share, comment, and even take a minute to help support this podcast. You can find out how to do so by looking in the description wherever you're finding this podcast. So today, POTUS did what? This is a question that actually is changing as I'm beginning this podcast because of new information that I just received. So the question that I was going to ask is, why does Trump keep talking about a vaccine when many of his followers are not going to take it? Now, the reason that I wanted to ask this question is because I believe that one of the things that the president has done right is the Warp Speed Initiative. He has applied $10 billion to fast tracking a vaccine. And if you know me and you've listened to my podcast, you know that I believe that a vaccine is critical, because we can't count on American citizens to all wear a mask or to socially distance or to quarantine. So a vaccine is the next best thing, unless people aren't willing to take that vaccine. But I believe that the president has done well in fast tracking that. In fact, I was looking at some research today, and there's this interesting new terminology that I don't know if you've heard yet, but it's called vaccine nationalism. Now, what this is every single country in the world is worried about getting their hands on the vaccine once there is a proven vaccine. So every country is buying up in advance as many vaccines as they can. And President Trump and his administration have secured millions and millions of these vaccines ahead of time. And because of monetary donations that we've made to the cause, people who develop vaccines have said that we will be one of the countries first in line. So again, this is America first. This is the president fighting for us and our country. And I appreciate it. I think that it's awesome. So the question is, though, is he counteracting his drive to get a virus with his other language about the virus? And again, I was asking the question when I started this podcast, and that is, why is he pushing the vaccine when the majority, or not the majority at the time, but when many of his followers say they will not take the vaccine? Well, when I asked that question, the most recent polling I had was that 40% of conservatives and Republicans and people who are religious conservatives have said they're not going to take the virus. Well, if we get that level of people, the vaccine, if we get that level of people who are not going to take the vaccine, we're going to have a hard time getting up to herd immunity. But guess what? Just before I started recording, a new poll has come out, and it has showed a 22% drop from those initial numbers, and not just in Republicans, but also in Democrats, both saying that they will not take the virus when it first comes out. Now, why in the world is this happening? In order to answer that question, I want to talk about where we're at and what the president has done. He talks about the vaccine a lot. He clearly believes in the vaccine. So let's hear from him.
Most importantly, we are marshaling America's scientific genius to produce a vaccine in record time. Under Operation Warp Speed, we have 3 different vaccines in the final stage of trials right now, years ahead of what has been achieved before. Nobody thought it could ever be done this fast. Normally it would be years, and we did it in a matter of a few months. We're producing them in advance so that hundreds of millions of doses will be quickly available. We will have a safe and effective vaccine this year, and together we will crush the virus. We'll have a very successful vaccine, therapeutic, and cure. Well, they started actually, I guess you heard, in January, early January, and they've been working on it. I know so many, and private companies have been working on it. The government's been working on it. So we've got the time because we put and they've literally been working 24 hours a day. So we've got the time, and we hope to be able to do something by the end of the year or shortly thereafter. But again, it's not solely vaccine-based. Other things have never had a vaccine, and they go away. So I don't want people to think that this is all dependent on vaccine, but a vaccine would be a tremendous thing. We're going to have a vaccine very soon, maybe even before a very special date. You know what date I'm talking about. Today, my administration reached a historic agreement with Pfizer to produce and deliver 100 million doses of their vaccine immediately following its approval. Hopefully the approval process will go very quickly, and we think we have a winner there.
So, as you can hear, the president is very high on a vaccine and has created this warp speed program, $10 billion, negotiations even before the vaccines are in place. And so he has touted this vaccine as an important part of the process. And I give him credit for that. My problem is he at the same time that he is touting the vaccine and fighting for the vaccine, is he undermining the vaccine? And does that mean that when the vaccine comes out, people aren't going to want it because he's undermined it? Well, so here's the information I was going to share with you when I started the podcast. More than, 45% of strong conservatives, 4 in 10 Republicans, and nearly as many evangelical Christians say they'd be unlikely to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. That number has gone down to only 32% of conservatives and Republicans say that they will get the vaccine. But even more surprising is that Democrat numbers have gone down 23%. So what is driving this? What is driving a situation where conservatives and Democrats are saying they don't want to take this vaccine when it first comes out? Well, believe it or not, it's for different reasons, but both reasons are being created by the president. So here he is trying to come up with a vaccine. He must want everyone to take the vaccine. I mean, you heard all of the sound bites. He must want everybody to take it. But the problem is that many times when he talks about the vaccine and when he talks about the virus, he says we don't even need the vaccine. He says the virus is going to go away without anything, like a miracle, without a vaccine. And so I've had conversations with staunch conservative Republicans who follow Trump, and I've asked them, will you take the vaccine when it first comes out? And they're like, no, I'm not going to take the vaccine. This thing's just going to go away, because they're believing what the president says. Now, if you don't believe me that he said it's going to go away and it's going to go away without a vaccine, well, you know, there's this thing called cameras and recordings, and well, here you go.
But again, it's not solely vaccine-based. Other things have never had a vaccine, and they go away. So I don't want people to think that this is all dependent on vaccine, but a vaccine would be a tremendous thing. Well, I feel about vaccines like I feel about tests. This is going to go away without a vaccine. It's going to go away, and we're not going to see it again, hopefully, after a period of time. You may have some flare-ups next year, but eventually it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. There are some viruses and flus that came and they went for a vaccine. They never found the vaccine, and they've disappeared. They've never shown up again. They die too, like everything else. They die too. And so whether we do or not, I think great progress is being made by Johnson & Johnson, by Oxford, and some others. NYU, I see, is very advanced. But if you don't get it, this is going to go away at some point. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. It could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. You have to be calm. It'll go away. It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. We need a little separation until such time as this goes away. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. It will go away. You know it is going away. And it will go away. And we're going to have a great victory. It's going to go away, hopefully at the end of the month. And if not, it hopefully will be soon after that.
But hasn't your thinking on this evolved?
It is going away. I didn't say it, Dave. I said it's going away, and it is going away.
You were saying things like, I think it's a problem that's going to go away within a couple of days.
It will go away. But I think what happens is it's going to go away. This is going to go away. It's going to go. It's going to leave. It's going to be gone. It's going to be eradicated.
So there you go. It's not going away. I mean, can we just be clear? It's not going away. The only way it goes away is if, 70%, 80% of Americans get it, close to 1 million people die, and then maybe if the antibodies stay in our system, then we'll have herd immunity. That's the only way this thing goes away without a vaccine. But listen to him. He's telling Republicans, he's telling conservatives, he's telling his followers, you don't need to worry about the vaccine. This is just going to go away. Well, no wonder they are declining in numbers of how many people are going to get the vaccine. But what frustrates me so much about this president is, on the one hand, I think he's doing a tremendous job working to get the vaccine. But on the other hand, he's destroying all of the desire and need and urgency that is required to get enough people to use this vaccine. It's infuriating. Why is he saying it's going to go away without a vaccine, but at the same time saying he's spending all this money and doing such a great job on fast-tracking a vaccine? What he should be doing is saying, we're fast-tracking the vaccine, and I want everybody to be prepared to get it, because that's how we're going to get back to normal. And I will promise you that when I tell you that you can take this, that you can trust me, why is he undermining his own actions and his own message? It drives me out of my mind here, because this is a case where he should be getting credit for what he's doing. But as you can see by the numbers, Republican conservatives, evangelicals, only 30% now say they're going to take it. Well, that's because he's telling them they don't have to. So what about the other side of the aisle? Why is it that Democrats are now saying, why have their numbers gone down 23% in the last 4 months? What possible reason do they have to not get the vaccine? Well, it's because they're worried about the president fast-tracking the vaccine. They think that he is so interested in getting a vaccine out before the election that he's going to cut all kinds of corners, and it's going to be a health risk. So, I mean, he can't win as long as he's downplaying the vaccine. I think that if he was talking about pushing this vaccine through, encouraging everybody to get ready to take it, and talking about the steps that he was using, that he could engender some level of confidence in all of the people. But instead, if you think about it, he has destroyed the confidence in everybody. There's not any side that is saying they're going to take this vaccine. So he's destroyed all of it. So now what's the point of having it? What's the point of that $10 billion? What's the point of all of his hard work and effort to get the vaccine through? He's completely undercut his own message. And it's unfortunate, because this is somewhere where I want to give him the credit that he deserves. But I can't. Because when that vaccine comes out, what is he going to do then? He's going to have to go out on a campaign and restore people's faith in the vaccine and tell everybody, look, I got the vaccine for you. I'm saving the country. We fast-tracked this, so you need to take it. And people on both sides of the aisle are going to go, no, you've been telling us since the very beginning this is going to go away. We don't have to. Or you push this thing through so fast because you want to get reelected. So neither side is going to take this vaccine. So can you imagine that scenario where a vaccine comes out, it's actually effective? We could generate herd immunity and get this country roaring again? But nobody takes it? Not enough people even come close? That's what we're heading for right now. That should anger everybody. Everybody, regardless of what side of the aisle that you are on.